5G Techritory, and let's make a huge round of applause so those who are still outside would wander in and see what is happening. Woohoo! Woohoo! Thank you for your support. For those who are watching us online, so welcome back from wherever you went. This is a fireside chat or campfire chat, call it as you will. It will be friendly, it will be very, very important. Wherever I go into the conferences for last, I would say 3 years, and I wonder why it's only last 3 or 5 years, we are talking about diversity and inclusion. We know already companies where they have even special part of the company taking care of it. Then there is always part of the audience who's wondering, why should we talk about that? That's not a problem, at least in our company, at least we don't know. And then we watch how many people are included in like panels, in the audience, and then suddenly we start to think, maybe there is some statistics talking about inclusion and diversity. So, is there? And the most important part, actually, we shouldn't be talking about that because it's just being humane, including and taking care of people, no matter how different they are. But there is a certain data which says that inclusion and diversity is very good for business. And our next guests will be talking about that in particular. Riga Tech Girls are represented by Anna Andersson. Please welcome. And she will be joined also with Director for Google.org for Europe, Middle East and Africa, Rowan Barnett. Anna, welcome. And I'm leaving.
Thank you, Valdis. Hello, Rowan. We all see you here as well.
Everyone.
Yeah. So today we'll start with a short presentation from my side, and then I'll invite Rowan back on the stage to give some remarks from his side, and then we'll take some questions and give some answers as well. So good evening. I dare to say good evening. It's the last speech of today, last official part, and I'm very honored to be here on this 5G Techritory event. And I want to talk about diversity that empowers, so diversity and inclusion as part of the core strategy. And yeah, my name is Anna Andersson. I'm CEO of Riga Tech Girls. And for those of you who maybe haven't heard of Riga Tech Girls until this point, I just quickly want to say that Riga Tech Girls is an NGO, and we strive at creating inclusive digital skills programs, and we try to bring more digital skills to the Latvian society and also beyond Latvian borders. And we work on increasing diversity in tech. So we want to see more diverse people. We've started with gender diversity, that's why Riga Tech Girls, but we also work on having more inclusion for all types of diverse people in the tech field. So just to reflect, what is inclusion? So inclusion is approach that shows to everyone, all individuals, that they're valued, recognized, accepted, and they feel included. And just to also be on the same page about diversity, so we often could think that diversity is a number. So how many women are there in this audience? So how diverse is this audience? Or how many women are in our team or on our management board? But actually diversity is more than just that number. Diversity is strength of teams and strength of companies, and there is data backing that up. There are some self-explanatory aspects of what we could think why diversity could be good for business. So, of course, if we have more diverse people in the potential talent pool, we have a broader pool of talent. So we have more people to choose from. That's good for business, right? If we have more different people in the team, we have multiple perspectives on any problem. Of course, that's good for business. It's also good for employee retention, because if people feel included, if they feel like they're part of where they are working, they are working there longer, and that's quite self-explanatory. And of course, if we have many different people in the team, we know the customer needs better because they have different experiences and they can share that. And finally, companies who are inclusive, they have better brand reputation. So this is all self-explanatory. But there are a couple of aspects to diversity and inclusion that are not that self-explanatory and that are actually backed by data. So here I want to mention 4 of those. How diversity inclusion actually is good for business because it brings higher profitability. It means that companies will be more innovative. It actually makes companies and teams better at decision making. And finally, of course, they're more attractive to future employees as well. So what is the data backing this up? There's a McKinsey research talking about higher profitability, and here we can see some data of how actually profitability is growing over the years for companies who are becoming more diverse. And the research shows that it's not just profitability, it's also higher revenues in general that are generated by companies who are more diverse in the workforce and also on the management level. Second, innovation leadership. So companies that have different background people in the team are better innovators. And actually this number is 1.7. So companies who are more diverse, they have a 70% more chance to be innovation leaders than companies who are not diverse. So this comes from the fact that diverse teams are better at solving problems. So if we come together and with different perspectives, we are just better problem solvers, and better problem solving means more innovation. And it also means better decision making from several aspects. So one is that these decisions are more profitable, and here, according to research, is 60% more profitable decisions done by diverse teams, but it's also faster decision making. And faster is counterintuitive. We would think that a homogeneous group of people, so a team that consists of people who are like-minded, who have similar backgrounds, will make decisions faster. But the reality is that teams that are diverse make decisions faster. And there is interesting data behind it that actually in these teams, the people are not that comfortable, so they work faster. And that's an interesting aspect. So maybe diverse team is not always the most comfortable situation to be in, but it definitely brings better results, less meetings needed to make decisions and to move forward, and making decisions faster. And finally, so recent data shows that actually 76% of the new workforce, of the current workforce, pay a lot of attention to diversity and inclusion in companies, and they will always prefer a company that is inclusive. So this becomes also as heart of the strategy for hiring people. So how does it all reflect in Latvia, what we're talking about today? So in Latvia, we have this situation that there's projections that until 2027, we're going to lack about 14,000 IT specialists in this country. So there is a question, how are we going to fill this gap? And if we look at the number of people who are currently employed in ICT sector, then we have around 3.9% at the moment, while our neighbors have much higher numbers. And for us to be competitive and to develop as a country, we also need to step up our game and have more people join the ICT field. Where can we find these lacking people? Where can we grow this? Actually, there's a lot of opportunity in bringing more diversity and having more women in this field, because currently only 23% of all those working in ICT are women. So what are Riga Tech Girls doing about it? Just quickly, so we try to provide equal opportunities for everyone, and with the support of different international companies, local companies, and grants, and especially those also provided by google.org, we have created several programs that help improve this diversity situation. So the biggest program that we have is the Discover Tech program, which has had more than 16,000 participants over the past 3 years, and more than 5,000 graduates of the program. So these are mostly women who are now aware of what the job market and ICT consists of, and they can find their passion and interest. And afterwards, they can move into the mentorship program, and we have thus far had more than 900 participants, and most of them have found also job positions in ITC after this program. With google.org support, we've also had other programs. So one of those is Tech in a Human Way for teachers, where we had more than 2,000 teachers join this year with the aim to bring more digital skills into the field of schools, and thus, through teachers, also empower and inspire students to care about this field and to think about their future in the tech sector. And also another program that brought together more than 2,000 creative specialists from Latvia, but also from diaspora around other countries in the world. And here, also with the support of Google.org, but also with the support of our ministries and Riga City Council, we brought these digital skills to the creative people, trying to bring more diversity also there. For the next year, we also have a couple of programs for actually a full year of programs aimed at increasing diversity in tech, increasing diversity in startups. And here in blue, you can see some of the programs that we have planned with the support and funding that we have got from our partners. So just summing this all together, I want to say that we at Riga Tech Girls, we aim at supporting also companies in bringing diversity and inclusion. And if you have any ideas how you want to collaborate, then our board is super open to talk about that. And we have a huge team also working behind it, so don't hesitate to contact us, and let's bring more innovation in the diversity and inclusion field here in tech. So that's all from my side, and I will now invite Rowan to join here with us and say a couple of words also from Google.org side.
Thanks so much, Anna, for those, I think, very stark insights. Let's call them stark for now, but I, can only underscore so much what you said, and so I'll try and add some additional perspective also from my side and from Google as a company. So hi everyone, I'm Rowan and I lead Google.org, Google's philanthropy in Europe, Middle East and Africa. And I'm really sorry that I can't be with you in person today. I've been actually at a Brussels summit on supporting Ukraine's recovery, but delighted to be able to talk to you today, because actually advancing diversity, equity, inclusion is something that has been close to my heart for many years and front and center for me as a manager throughout my career. Now, I actually studied history at university and I wrote my dissertation on feminism. And among the many shocking things that I learned about the repression of women's socioeconomic rights and opportunities throughout history, a couple of pieces of data stayed top of mind for me through my professional career. Now, one was that in 2002, when I wrote my dissertation, women earned only 82% of men's wages for comparable jobs. And the second piece was that a female college graduate in the UK that went from the same university with the same degree, the same results, goes into the same job, by the age of 24 is earning 15% less than her male colleagues. And it's like, wow, why is that? Now, fast forward to today, when you look at the data on gender equity, it shows a clear pattern. I think we've made progress, but it's been uneven, it's been frustratingly slow, and equality is sadly a long way off. I think the number of all-male panels at this conference today is a testament to that. Now, let's start though with the good news. Looking back on the last few decades, we've definitely seen a lot of progress. Firstly, more girls going to school than ever before. That's super important because increasing women and girls' education contributes not only to their empowerment, but it also accounts for 50% of the economic growth that we've seen in OECD countries over the last 50 years. Secondly, women are more present in the workforce than ever before, and they're getting paid more. So 50 years ago, women made 60 cents for every dollar a man made, and today that gap has shrunk, and women now make 83 cents for every dollar. That varies a little across countries, but you get the general picture. Now, 60 to 83, that's meaningful progress. But remember my stat about women earning 82% of men's wages in 2002. So overall, basically, we've stagnated in the last 20 years. Now, I think we do have reasons to be optimistic on many fronts, but the progress that we've made is fragile, and economic downturns can set that progress back dramatically. The pandemic really laid bare for all to see as women were twice as likely to lose their jobs. And when we zoom in on Latvia, as Anna spoke about, there's a similar picture. Women salaries last year were almost 15% lower than those of men in the same role. The salary pay gap, especially high in the ICT field, reaching 32%. And as Anna said, only 23% of those employed in the IT field are women. And in leadership positions, it will be a lot less. And yet, just to stress this point again, the data clearly shows that diverse teams and companies and startups led by diverse founding and leadership teams are more innovative, more adaptive, and make more money. So, just search, use a little tool called Google and search for, are diverse teams more successful? You'll find a whole list of reports with data on that. So what can be done, and what is Google and Google.org doing to help? Now, as I believe I have 7 minutes and not 70 minutes, in the interest of time, if you'd like to know what Google is doing to ensure, as a company that we represent and embrace diversity, equity, inclusion, then you can Google Diversity Report, and you will find all our annual reports going back to 2014 detailing our data and initiatives. But the key thing is this: DEI needs to be a core strategic pillar that cuts across everything you do as a company, starting, of course, with your culture, your hiring, your leadership, and flowing all the way through to your products. And as Anna said, diversity is not just a number. It's good, but it's not good enough just to have representation, to have women and people from underserved communities as well at the table. They also need to be heard and need to be part of the decision making. And for that, you really need to foster belonging and inclusion. So I think as a company, personally, I think Google has made great progress here, and we still have progress to make. It's a continual journey that we're on. And in addition to our focus on DEI efforts as a company, we're working hard to also ensure we enable opportunity for everyone. Providing digital skills training, for example, to 35 million women in 50 countries through our Grow with Google program over the last 10 years, or supporting Black and female founders through Google for Startups. And at Google.org, we also believe our philanthropy has a role to play. One key driver is empowering female-led organizations and social innovators to be drivers of change. We're big believers in philanthropy as risk capital. That means taking bets on technology, new approaches to drive outsized equitable impact. And since 2015, Google.org has given more than $90 million to women's economic empowerment organizations in two core fields. One is giving girls quality education and access to STEM careers. And the second is digital skills development and career advancement. So improving their digital literacy and helping get women into jobs, and both absolutely critical. What we've seen is that when women and girls have the resources and the opportunities to turn their potential into power, it changes not only the trajectory of their lives, but it can also strengthen entire communities. And we've seen this through our work in Central Eastern Europe over the last 5 years, where we've funded organizations such as Techritory in Czechia or Women Go Tech in Lithuania, who've helped thousands of women from vulnerable backgrounds to upskill, reskill, start careers in the technology sector. And that's a huge opportunity for those sectors. That translates into GDP gains, it translates into company profits. And of course, another wonderful organization that we've been supporting is Riga Tech Girls. And I must say, we've been so impressed by Anna and her team since day one. In 2019, we gave them the first grant to scale their tech and mentorship training programs for women, where they received, I remember, double the amount of applications from across the country than I remember you had anticipated, Anna. And then we followed up with another grant during the pandemic to help you respond. And to date, you've trained more than 14,000 women. And I know that 5,500 women also passed all tests, got certificates, and you've helped 400 women change their careers. And that's really phenomenal impact. And that's also why we're delighted to continue our support. And so today I'm happy to announce that we'll be giving Riga Tech Girls another $250,000 in grant funding to enable a nationwide training program on employment skills in the digital sector, with the goal of helping 11,000 women explore this field and gain the skills they need to succeed. And in addition, we want Anna and her team to take their knowledge and share it with other organizations across Europe, which they're going to be doing through an online digital skills masterclass program for NGOs, equipping women working in NGOs with necessary digital skills. So congratulations, Anna, but most of all, a huge thank you to you and your team. Keep up the incredibly important work that you're doing, and know that we're also here to support you as you continue your mission. And I hope that there are also other funders and partners in the audience who might be inspired to join us in supporting you on that journey, or at least we'll look at, what can you do individually to help drive diversity, equity, inclusion, and foster belonging in your companies and institutions. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rowan. Do we have any questions?
Oh, yes. Yes, you have more questions than any other discussion panel before.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah, that's always the case, because people take it really personally. So, for example, I guess every gentleman hearing that there is not enough ladies in the room could feel like they are the ones to be blamed. So, as always. But yes, we have some very interesting comments and questions. Iveta is saying, we are the generation who lives in the age of tremendous changes. Have we approached the stage when professionals and civic society may advise on regulations?
All right, yeah, so from my perspective, we are working together with the policymakers to talk about how we can work with regulations to also support this. Maybe, Rowan, you have some comment on regulation and diversity.
By the way, possibly it could be also the question from some previous panels, but it's fitting so well.
Yeah.
Look, I think there is a certain amount of regulation that, of course, can be super helpful, such as regulation that dictates public companies need to have a certain amount of diversity representation in their boards. There's a whole discussion we can have on quotas. So there is, of course, a place for regulation, but I think there's a much easier path, and that is self-regulation as a company, as leadership of a company, to take it in your own hands, to look at, how can I, given that this is, this isn't about, fairness. Of course, that's one aspect, but really, if you're just looking at as a leadership of your company to how can we make more innovative products and better serve our audiences and, essentially grow our business, then having a diverse organization, as Anna and the statistics have shown, so I think that self-regulation is actually more powerful in many ways, but it can help.
But of course, because listening to that data you just brought up, it looks like what company managers are stupid. They have all the data which shows that their company could be much, much, much better and more successful being diverse. Where's the problem?
Well, where's the problem? I think it's historical, so it takes time to develop and change. And I don't think definitely company leaders and managers they're not stupid. They definitely know what they're doing, and they're working on this. I know amazing companies also in IT field here that have great inclusion policies and great diversity programs. It's just that we need to work together as a community, as a society, to also kind of empower and support women and girls to believe in themselves and apply for these positions.
Mm-hmm. Okay, then question from Oscars. Girls usually tend to graduate from school with better grades. How come that they are not dominating tech industry? Although I know 2 girls in Latvia who are one of the best in their area in the world, also being with good grades from school. But what is your answer to this one?
So from my experience and research that I've done on this, is that there's a lot of stigma going around. Women, their position, and there's still myths in the society, so that is one part. And another one is that there is research backing up that women, and girls in particular, those who are in the top of their class, in the very top, let's say top 10%, they really believe in their strength and they go for the positions that they aspire for. But the next 20-30%, they are much different than their male peers. So they don't believe that much in their possibilities and their strength, and they choose fields that maybe are less challenging. And we need these women and these young women and these girls to also believe in their possibilities and join. Rowan, maybe you have also some thoughts on this.
I think that's exactly right, Anna. And there is certainly, in order to combat, as you said, these things take time. We need to invest in combating these stereotypes and lifting up the role models of the fact that anyone can be an engineer, anyone can be a developer. You don't need to be a man to do that job. And we need to provide training and access, and that starts with STEM education, and it carries on with skills and developing the skills to be able to do that. So I think we are on the right path, and we've made a lot of progress, but I think we need to accelerate this progress, and that's going to take us all working together. And I think just to some of the comments, it isn't about blame. And certainly, if you're in the audience and you're a man, that's absolutely fine. But I think there is a part that the awareness that we need to have, that, for instance, if you if you've been invited to an all-male panel, you might think, actually, someone on my staff, someone in my organization who is a woman, is equally qualified as myself to maybe talk about this topic. I'll suggest her in my place. So I think there's just small things that we can start to do to grow awareness, to give people, women and people from underrepresented groups, more opportunity at the table, and then of course to help define and make decisions as well.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Any questions? Yes, here comes the mic.
There's a question.
The last
from the
question,
audience.
please.
Hi there. How do global companies that have offices spread out throughout the world make sure they are mandating that their managers make every effort to come up with the standards of diversity and inclusion that makes sense for that location, whether it's and to make sure that they're not asking those local managers aren't simply saying like, oh, well, there's just the talent pool isn't there, giving the usual responses, while also being sensitive to the needs of that particular market or and in addition to women, but also groups that are underrepresented that you may not be aware of as global leadership in San Francisco or wherever.
Thank you.
Rowan, please take this one.
Yes, great question. And of course, I think there's so much at Google, for instance, we really look to local countries, to local leadership to help define, to build a local company. A Google in Belgium, where I currently am, for instance. And so, we also do have reports that analyze diversity, equity, inclusion within a particular country. So that, absolutely, we can have shared values, and we do have shared values, and we have shared goals as to what we would like to see in terms of belonging, in terms of inclusion, in terms of DEI at a global level. But absolutely, you're right, that how do those translate? What are the demographics locally? But I think, shared culture, but obviously looking particularly at hiring and fostering inclusion on a local level is very important.
Well, we have to say thank you, Rowan. Thank you, Anna.
Thank you, Rowan.
And
Thank
keep
you,
up the good fight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.